All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here. Gonna rant and rave about something, and most people are gonna think it's stupid, but I'm going to do it in real time for a few of you who get it. A few people out there, just like you, just like me. All right. Before I get to my little rant here, and again, congratulations to Foreigner. This is about something that Dave Grohl said. People who watch this channel know how much I love Dave Grohl. But I'm supposed to love Dave Grohl because Dave Grohl is everywhere. Dave Grohl is like bigger than Elvis. He's wherever there's an award or there's a band that's, being honored, somehow Dave Grohl finds a way to kind of interject himself. And I've been told by everybody, he's really nice, Dave. What's your issue with Dave Grohl? My issue is the band that he was in back in the early 90s. You may have heard of them, Nirvana. Okay. They kind of destroyed the entire thing for anything that was coming along that wasn't dark, grungy, and crappy. I remember doing the video about how none of these guys really knew how to play their instruments all that well. Producers, I think Desmond Child said this, and yeah, it was trendy and cool, but none of these guys could sing or play. And I agree with Desmond Child. All right, now before I get into what Dave Grohl said, and this probably isn't going to be a lengthy video unless I keep ranting, right, and remembering certain things that tick me off. But before I start doing that, here are the Crows. This is a real rock band that nobody's going to listen to, but I'm putting it out there. Ready when you are. Now, no offense to the band. I'm sure they have fans. I didn't mean to. I'm just saying compared to whatever else is out there, right? Five Finger Death Punch. Go listen to some Five Finger Death Punch. That's great music. Oh, and the Crows, right? Because they both, in the world, and this is going to go with what I'm talking about, in the world of music, you could have a little diversity, right? I tend to not like that word when people start talking about diversity, because what that means is bring mediocre stuff in that doesn't sound as good and do it for diversity's sake, right? In this case, this is better than a lot of things that I've listened to that are currently on the radio right now, but nobody's gonna, there's no support system for this. I'm not even sure anymore how you get a song on the radio. You must be in like a stable of other artists who are approved by the radio gods. All right. Something. I don't know. It's just one big conglomerate, and they don't make decisions based on talent. They make it on, does it fit what this sounds like? Is it dark? Is it menacing? Is it tedious? Then yes, we'll put it on the radio. This is not. So again, the Crows, and here's a close-up. Ready When You Are. That's the name of the album. Hopefully you'll check it out. Now, Dave Grohl, right, apparently was complimentary of something that had to do with Foreigner. And again, I'm a simple guy, right? And sometimes I'm wrong about stuff. And if you don't agree, that's fine. If you do agree, you can keep watching the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. Support the channel if you can, because I feel at times like, I'm a lone voice crying out in the wilderness. But there are people that agree with me, except they're not willing to go after certain people. Now, Dave Grohl might be the nicest guy on the planet. I keep hearing, oh, I don't know why you're so upset with Dave Grohl. Dave Grohl is all things to all people. He's in the Foo Fighters. You didn't know? I had one guy, when I first started this channel, sent me a message saying, how do you not know that Dave Grohl is in the Foo Fighters? How do you not know that? Because I didn't pay attention to the Foo Fighters. I didn't care about the Foo Fighters. All right. I remember Nirvana, though. And so the guy who was in a band who I think successfully destroyed or helped destroy rock as I know it right now. And yes, for the last 30 years, there's grunge, there's post-grunge, there's apocalyptic rock, however doom rock, whatever label you want to put on it, And yeah, I could say some of this started in the 80s with the 80s underground, but notice it was underground. All right. If you notice, it wasn't mainstream. Occasionally a song by a band would get a little bit more airplay, but it wasn't the predominant thing. And by the way, that was good because you had that music coexisting with all the cheesy stuff that people hate now, or certain people hate. So Dave Grohl is talking about Foreigner, all right? And he says, I've loved Foreigner since I got their debut record. Wonder when he got that record. Did he get that record before he started with Nirvana? And why would you listen to Foreigner and then put together a band like Nirvana? I don't see the connection. Now, some people who are more enlightened than I am, right, would come along and say, well, again, you're complaining about coexisting here and how certain styles can't live together. Well, I can like really crappy music and I can like really well put together music like Foreigner, and I can do both. And I'm like, sure, I can put on the Suicide tape, or I can put on something that is a little bit more upbeat, optimistic, where, again, as Desmond Child put it, the bands I listened to, people knew how to sing. People knew how to play their guitar, right? And that's Desmond Child just confirming what pretty much everybody already knew, is that the grunge era did not produce your greatest musicians, okay? Some people say the singers were intense, even though they all sounded the same. That may be true, but if you look at the pantheon of great rock vocalists, I don't see it. I don't hear it, and I don't see it. So again, let me continue with this Dave Grohl thing here. I've loved Foreigner since I got their debut record. There's one drum riff that I've used in more than a few songs. Okay. All right. Maybe he's used in the Foo Fighters, right? Because again, the Foo Fighters, they're kind of like this pivot going back to a more accessible sound. They're not obviously a grunge band. They're a post-grunge or alternative. I don't know. Alternative pop. Whatever. I mean, none of it, okay, rises to a band like Foreigner. It's not even close, right? And again, is Foreigner my favorite all-time band? No. It took how many years, though, to get them into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? And everybody, even Paul McCartney, is like out there saying, hey, yeah, how come Foreigner isn't in there? Well, okay, you guys are all industry insiders, right? Dave Grohl, he's got to be pals with everybody over at the Hall of Fame. I mean, they put Nirvana in there right away before Foreigner. They put the Foo Fighters in before. So both of the bands that Dave Grohl has been in, right? And he's probably been in other stuff because I don't pay attention to Dave Grohl. But both of the major bands that Dave has been in are in the Hall of Fame. And Mick Jones, the brilliant Mick Jones, Lou Gramm, one of the greatest singers this planet has ever known. Yeah, we're going to wait to put them in. How come Dave Grohl and Paul McCartney and all these people just didn't bang on someone's door and say, what are you guys doing? What's taking so long? I remember when they put the Moody Blues in, I thought the Moody Blues were going to collapse on stage because they're all so old. They had just lost Ray Thomas. And I'm thinking, this band was around in like 1963, right? Or something, 63, 64. And you're finally getting around to putting them in there. And I think it was the drummer who got up there and he's like, I'm an old man. What are you guys doing? It's almost like bittersweet. Like, now you're going to drag me out of bed when you should have done this 25 years ago. And so I just find it ironic that these guys are all pulling for Foreigner, right? Paul McCartney, good for you. You did a nice little video. It was cute. I liked it, right? Dave Grohl, oh, I've always liked Foreigner. Really, because it doesn't show up in the kind of music that you make. But okay. Just again, you don't have to agree with what I'm saying. I know there are a lot of people for some reason, because I'm opinionated, they assume that I just hate everything, and that's not true. There are things I don't like. I don't like the Foo Fighters, and I'm probably going to say I hate Nirvana. Okay? Nirvana is not a band I want to listen to, right? Foo Fighters, I went back and listened, and I said, okay, I could see a few people in 1999 listening to this and thinking it's okay. But yeah, after the fact, and then there's a whole host of different things that it's just not even close to being in the Hall of Fame and not even nominated. You go down a huge list. How about the Atlanta rhythm section? I'll wait. It's what? Why? Because they were an amazing band in the studio, on the road, had one of the greatest singers, Ronnie Hammond. Everyone's forgotten him, obviously. Moody, atmospheric band, bluesy, adult contemporary, but still with the ability to rock out. Very unique band. They're not in the Hall of Fame. Do they deserve to be? I think they do. There's a whole huge list of things that should be in the Hall of Fame, and people aren't even gonna. They're gonna forget after a while. They're just who's what are you talking about? I'm already starting to see that, by the way. Things that people used to talk about in the music industry, they don't talk about anymore, whether it's a band or a format or a style. They forget that this happened so many years ago, whatever it is, and now we're Dave Grohl. Dave Grohl, he's kind of like the gatekeeper for all this stuff. Well, if Dave says it should be in, did they get the green light from Dave Grohl to put Foreigner in addition to getting rid of Jan Wenner? Dave Grohl said, finally, we got rid of that guy. So now I can convince them to put Foreigner in. Same with Paul McCartney. If these guys didn't have the pull before that, then it just shows that the whole thing it's already a joke, but it just compounds how much of a joke it is. So anyway, it's good that Dave Grohl had Foreigner's debut album. That's good. Wonder if he had Agent Provocateur. I bet you he didn't have that album. I Want to Know What Love Is. What a cheesy song. What a stupid song. Yeah. Anyway, Robert Plant doesn't think so. And there are a number of other smart people who understand when you write a really good song, it surpasses anything that the Foo Fighters have done or Nirvana has done. I'm sorry. I know that doesn't make the rock critics all happy, because Smells Like Teen Spirit, that's the watermark. That's when rock and roll became rock and roll again. That's like when the Beatles came back. Right. Okay. The Crows and Ready When You Are. Here's some real rock for real people. I'm sorry about the rants. There's so many things now that I just don't get. And if I really thought about it, I probably would just say, you know what, enough of this. I'm not doing this anymore. Because these obvious bands who not only deserve the Hall of Fame, but start playing their stuff on the radio again. Okay? If, Rick Beato did this video about 4 bands that will be around in 2100 still on the radio. Look, everything is in a holding pattern. So if all of this current music sucks, you can go back in time and pull out stuff that either you didn't play the first time or you used to play and now you don't play. And you could make radio great again. You really could. Will people do that? You need somebody with deep pockets who can, like just everything else in whether it's politics or sports, whatever, decentralize the entire industry and say, you know what? No, radio stations in Toledo are not going to sound like radio stations in Albuquerque. We're going to have independent radio stations again, and we're going to have programmers who go in there and they're creative and they find music that not only people like, but will kind of shock people to think that, wow, look at all this music that we used to play that we don't. We're going to bring it back. And you can do that starting, say, from the 1960s, probably, right? all the way up to the early 1990s, and then maybe you can cherry pick some other things to put in there. But you could do the greatest radio format ever, and the other stuff would just go by the wayside. It would just go away. And because it's so bad and so repetitive and so predictable. Anyway, enough ranting. I thought it was going to be like a 3-minute video, Dave Grohl, but he gets under my skin for some reason. And again, I hear he is the nicest guy. He is the ambassador for today's rock. Well, we need a few more ambassadors, and we need some representatives that can actually get rock back into the mainstream again. And that's going to take people with money and people with passion and people with an ear for really good music, because apparently we just don't have that anymore. All right, folks, God bless you. God bless the world, not just America, but everywhere. Please pray for peace around the world and in your own heart. And I will talk to you soon.